Hey everyone, Kyle Hamrick here for School of Motion, and welcome to Workflow Show, where we talk about tools, tips, and techniques for motion design. I know it's been a little bit since we did one of these back in January. We've actually been doing a lot of stuff in the School of Motion community exclusively, like top secret stuff, some of which you're kind of going to get, your version of today. We've been hanging out quite a bit with the person who I'm joined by today, which is really exciting. We're talking about something that we're both super nerdy and passionate about. So I think this will be a good one. So I would love for you to help me welcome from Adobe's Mogrt team, Dacia Saenz. What's up?
Woo! What's up, Kyle?
How's it going?
Oh man, I'm just super pumped to be here with you guys again. Hello. Thank you for joining us. I'm ready to nerd out about Mogrts.
Me too. We've been nerding out about Mogrts quite a bit for the last month or so, just not publicly.
Well, I think we're at the level where we're definitely ready for secret decoder rings or enamel pins, secret handshakes. I mean, I think we're ready to invite new members to the club too. We've just been laying down the foundation for all of our Mogrt madness extravaganza times. Yeah, it's been a real good time.
I agree. So we're going to start off today by just kind of talking about what Mogrts are. It's a weird word. The very short version is they're templates where you can take a thing and have parts of it look the same and have parts of it look different, where you can kind of customize it, whatever you need that to be. I don't know. You could even make things look exactly the same if you want, or you can make them look a little bit different. It's kind of up to you. Whatever you want.
Mirror. Oh goodness. There's a lot of maybe bad word. Template can sometimes have some connotations. People like Drake in that meme, I don't want that. But I think the beauty of Mogrt is you can make these things super custom. Really what you're trying to harness is the power of After Effects, but inside Premiere.
Yes.
And you're also trying to harness the power of not spending time doing certain things over and over and over again that are redundant, that are frustrating, and rather just spend your time creating and making something more unique. And so in this way, I think Mogrts are pretty special.
I agree. They're very special. I've been using them a lot since they came out a couple years ago. But specifically, we're going to be talking about a brand new feature that just came out. Was it 2 weeks ago now? I think my brain's been just all scrambly.
Yeah, we've been on this train for quite a while. It was one of our most requested features, and we've been working on it for 2 years. It's one of the features that I'm most proud of. I've been at Adobe for 5 years, which is not that long at Adobe compared to most of my colleagues, but it is definitely the feature that I feel like we've spent a lot of time just gathering user feedback from, and really trying to make something that made sense and that would just give you all a lot of power. And so drum roll. I don't know if the name will make sense, but it's called media replacement. And what does it mean? Media replacement just means that, hey, you got some footage, you got some content. I think in the most basic sense, let's say you've got this really cool animated logo coming in and you're like, man, I want that, but it's got to be my logo. How do I make my logo do that? Well, now all you have to do is drag your Mogrt to a timeline in Premiere and then drag your own logo literally from Finder. You don't even have to import it into your project. We'll do that for you.
You don't have to open After Effects. You probably don't even have to have it installed.
You don't even have to have After Effects installed to make this work. I'm not a proponent of that. I believe everyone should have After Effects installed.
Agreed.
Soul. But if that's not your thing, no problem. You got the power of After Effects inside of Premiere. And the thing that I'm really excited about too, which we'll get into a little bit later, is that, After Effects, there's ways to make these really beautiful looks and textures and kind of give your video all kinds of different feels. I know a big one, people love chromatic aberration and there's just so many effects, right, Kyle? In the TikToks and in the Instagrams. And unfortunately, you don't have a ton of control over those. So that's one of the things I'm really excited about, to see what people will come up with, because you go in After Effects, make some cool effects, or maybe a more advanced user might do that for you. They'll give you a very curated set of tools that then you can come in, throw your video into the Mogrt and then make it your own and make it really custom to whatever you want your look to be, and make your video stand out. So I'm really pumped.
Yeah, it's there's a ton of possibilities here, and it's been fun like imagining all of those and having some other people help us imagine those, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get you all the basics here of using these things, some of the basics of creating them yourself, and just all kinds of fun ideas and whatnot. So real quick, do you want to give a little mini bio for the people that are unfortunate enough to have not met you before?
Well, sure. Okay, cool. So I'm Dacia Saenz. I work at Adobe. I'm a QE, it means quality engineer. But it also means like I basically, fight for the user on the engineering team on a day-to-day basis, fighting the good fight. A translator between the two groups of people, if you will. I've been at Adobe for about 5 years, and before that, I had my own small production company doing mostly social justice work, nonprofit videos, documentaries. I was very excited and honored to work for like the Center for Human Rights at the University of Washington. And I did a really cool documentary with my friend Sarah McCaslin in Thailand about transgender healthcare there. I had a lot of amazing opportunities to be a youth media educator. That's sort of where I got my passion around how to make tools more accessible for people to sort of get to success faster. This is kind of around the time that DSLR video sort of took off, right? It became a much more democratic process. And prior to that, I'd worked in more traditional media environments. I did some shows for CNBC and PBS, and even PA'd on a Robert Rodriguez movie, which was, I have many stories from, but it wasn't the life for me, I really, what I'm most passionate about is accessibility to creativity. And so Adobe's become a really great fit to be able to basically bring that to my work every day, and try to work on y'all's behalf to make some cool, I just feel super honored to be here, and I get to meet all these great artists, and I feel like I'm getting my PhD in After Effects every day. So that's super fun.
Awesome. Accessibility to creativity is like such a great tagline for Mogrts. And that's a great segue to my slides. I know everyone can't wait to see my slides. But let's take a second, and like we keep using this weird word that some people may not have heard. So let's toss this out here. So we keep saying Mogrt, and it is actually a file type. But let's talk about what the heck this means. So it actually stands for Motion Graphics Template. And these are templates that you can apply in Premiere Pro or even Rush, depending on where they're built. And these can be dynamic animated titles, transitions, graphs, and now that we have media replacement, so much more. We're going to show you some ideas. They might break your brain a little bit here. You can download these from Adobe Stock. You can create your own. You can have someone create them for you. They really can give you simplified controls and ease of use, whether that's for an end user or for yourself. Maybe there's only two things that you need to adjust on something that you're using every day. It's a great way to simplify that for you. And another thing that they do is they make motion graphics accessible to users of all skill levels. Like literally someone who's never touched After Effects can take a super complicated template and adjust a couple controls in Premiere and have something really cool without needing to have any advanced knowledge. They're really good for frequently used things, especially if you're doing like a show regularly or social media things that need to have consistent branding. And they're a great way to just save time and work more efficiently on things, as I keep hammering, like even if it's just for yourself.
Yeah. Who wants to have, re-export a lower third with a typo over and over again?
Not me.
Nobody.
Not me at all. As I pointed out, they're their own file type. So it's .mogrt, Motion Graphics Template. You can create them in Premiere Pro or in After Effects. I'm an After Effects nerd, so that's where I'm going to go. But they're usable only within Premiere Pro or Rush. Though if we have time, we might talk a little bit about essential properties in After Effects, which are built basically the same way and enable a ton of possibilities. In After Effects, again, those have been around for a couple years too. But a really big thing, and I already said this, but this generally isn't going to require an After Effects installation as long as you're not using like third-party plugins or the Cinema 4D render. There's a couple other like, specifics, but in general, someone with only Premiere Pro installed could use a really fancy After Effects template and do really neat stuff.
Yeah, I think the thing about After Effects is that for me personally, it makes me feel like a dang wizard. I feel so magical when I work in After Effects. And unfortunately, sometimes when newer users open up After Effects, it's really overwhelming and they're not really quite sure where to start. And so for me, motion graphics templates are this great bridge if you're you haven't really you had the time to dive into that and you want a little bit of the magic and you want to feel a little bit of the magic. Like that's a really great place to start.
Absolutely.
Because you do get a little bit of, like I said, curated tools to help you get on your way. And then you feel it and you get the bug and then you're ready to go in After Effects, That's my dream.
I mean, I think that's the case. Like I have here in my show notes, one of the things that we want to make sure we say are Mogrts are for everyone. And they absolutely are, like using and building. They don't need to be like, I need to make a template. Like they can be whatever you can imagine them to be. And as a builder, they can be very simple, or they can, be super complicated and expression driven and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But you can literally give yourself one control that might be a thing that you swap out every day, and it's super easy.
Yeah, like just the text. Maybe you already have the lower third doing what you wanted to do, and you just need to change the text, and that's it. Or the color, of something. Like it could be as simple as you need it to be. It's really whether you're working on a team and you're like, man, I do not want my editors messing with my motion design. And so I'm going to lock these things down and they have the ability to work with just these things. That's cool. Or you just like are working, like I said, like I was basically a Swiss Army knife, I wore many hats along the production pipeline. And if I had Mogrt at the time, I would have saved so much time for sure. Because it's just like, why do certain work over and over again? Especially when you could take that time and energy to
be creative.
Be creative. Right. Totally.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I feel like we've talked about all the basics here. Let's maybe should we show some demos?
Show us some things. Yeah.
All right. Let me look at my notes real quick. It's easy for Kyle and Dacia to just get swept up in talking about stuff. You may have realized you're really just watching Kyle and Dacia in the morning, because we've been doing this shtick for like a month now.
This is I'm really sad. This is sort of the finale of our world tour.
Well, we'll just have to make it really good today.
We're gonna make it really good. So we might get a little lost in one another's glows, but in one another's glow cats. But
yes.
Apologies in advance.
Let's see. One thing that I want to make really clear, because I kind of mentioned this, but that you can use these in Premiere Pro or Premiere Rush. You can build these in After Effects or Premiere Pro. If you build it in Premiere Pro, you can use it in either. If you build it in After Effects, you can only use it in Premiere Pro right now. Just something to understand, and we're going to kind of show that through our demos, but that's a good thing to clarify.
Absolutely. But and just think about it would be really, it's a very big challenge to get After Effects to run on a phone. That's
right. Which Rush can.
Rush can run on your phone. And, After Effects is a very deep tool and has a lot of power, and it will fry a phone. It will.
But to that point, you are basically running a little mini version of After Effects just off of Premiere to operate these, even if After Effects isn't installed on the machine.
Yeah, that's what I like to call tiny Inception AE. There is this little brain, After Effects brain inside of Premiere, and that is what powers After Effects Mogrts, and it's one of my best friends. I love it.
I like the big boy version, but I love that the little one exists.
The little one, I mean, it's there to do so many things.
It is
so many things. Well, show us what a Mogrt looks like.
Okay, fine.
Come on.
Let me flip over here to Premiere. So, oh, here I've got my local templates folder. I've got so many Mogrt folders here. It takes me.
Yeah, and I should say there's tons of ways to organize these things. You can sort by most recent. You can sort by libraries. Creative Cloud libraries. You can actually create pathways to specific folders. And one of the big requests that we've had was to bring back the folders in Premiere. But you can, little known fact, you can basically link to folders and then select, and then you only have those in view. But this is the essential graphics panel in Premiere, and it's where sort of the command center for Mogrts, if you will.
It is. So I'm on the graphics workspace right now, which is the easiest way to, to see this. But if you don't have your essential graphics panel, which I might call EGP a couple times, you can just open it from your window menu right there. And once you have this open, you can browse all these templates, either what you have installed locally or on Adobe stock. You can browse those right here on your machine, which is awesome. And there's a search bar right here. I go super in depth in this. My Max talk from this past year was all about using these and organizing these and stuff. So you can literally, for 25 minutes, listen to me talk about all the stuff in this panel if you want. Obviously, we don't have time for that today. So I'm just going to show you. I think it's here's my old friend here that is my favorite demo Mogrt called Wipe In Title with Ornaments, which is available for free on Adobe stock. And it's just this animated title here, like this, your title. Great. And this one is built in Premiere, which you can see by some of the controls over here. And you actually have keyframes visible over here, which is really cool. So you could edit this yourself, and I'll explain some of this gray stuff. But at its most basic here, let me kind of go to a frame where there's some stuff happening. And I'll just click on this, and Kyle and Dacia. Great. So you can see I just changed the title just that easily, and all the animation still works. I don't have to think about it. If I want to, I can come over here and I could change the color of one of these things. Like you can see, this is pretty non-intimidating, right? I changed that little bar. You can move this around, do whatever you want. This one's cool because it leverages some of the responsive design capabilities where you can pin things to other things. And if you build that right here in Premiere, you don't need to know any code or anything. There's just this little bit right here. You can say that this piece right here is pinned to Kyle and Dacia, which is the name of the text layer. And so if I make this longer, it will like expand the thing or move it up.
Yeah, if you change that font size in any way, you're sort of like trying to, it allows you to maintain the integrity of the design, even if certain changes are made. And it's like kind of like, I mean, if you're an After Effects user, it's like parenting a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not exactly. Close.
Cool. And speaking of responsive stuff, you'll notice there's these gray areas over here, and you can see them down here in the timeline too. This is responsive design time, which is essentially saying, this is my intro, this is my outro, because that was defined by the person who built this. And I can just take this and drag the end out, and look, that traveled with it. So now we have the in animation right here, and then it's going to hold on this for as long or as short as I want. And then we get up to the end and it goes out. So if you've ever had a title where you maybe had to change the length of it, and you were doing this the old way where you had to keep rendering them out of After Effects over and over again to try to match the timing of something in Premiere and blah, 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 blah.
Keyframes, Alt.
Yeah.
Switching no more.
You can just do it right here. And if you're creating one in After Effects to send here to Premiere, you can access the same functionality through that as well, which is so nice.
It really is. I mean, you know, and the After Effects one is even more powerful because you can choose where you want your protected regions to be.
Yeah.
And so
it can be right in the middle of the clip if you want.
Yeah, I've seen it work both ways. Sometimes you want to protect, meaning if the time is longer or made shorter, you want to make sure the animation is preserved, and so that will be protected. But sometimes I've found use cases where you might want to actually put the protected zone in the part where nothing is happening, because the timing of the animation you might want to be able to shift and change just a little bit to match the music or the beat of whatever's happening visually. So a lot of flexibility there, and yeah, you're not locked into a ton of again, these are giving you opportunity
Flexibility, yeah.
to tweak and change and try things out without having to go back into AE or make a ton of changes with all those little keyframes. I mean, it can get really messy quickly when you're trying to manually make all these adjustments. So these are total time savers.
I love it. So, you know, as I pointed out, this is a pretty straightforward thing. It's just a title. I could move this around on the screen. I could have this living over. I have just the workflow show intro here, but you know, I could have this live over another clip if you want. You have all the standard like controls, so you can move the whole clip. You could move just the title. Blah 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 blah. Let's show you something that's a little more complicated here. Oh, I should have. I usually have these in recent, and I've been doing so many other things here that I need to. Where is my? Oh, what's it called? Glow, I think. There we go. Yeah. Search bar. So this right here is a template that was made in After Effects, and you can see again, it's just a title, like, but it comes with its own built-in cool stuff here. These controls look quite a bit different though, because this was built in After Effects, and so the creator can give me exactly what I need access to. In this case, it's like text controls. There's some global like position and size here, and like background colors, stuff like that. So this is a great example. Dacia mentioned earlier, like you can lock this down if you want. So in this case, I have like total access to background colors, and I can like make the text this, you know, awesome fuchsia or whatever. But maybe those aren't the brand colors. So instead of this, I could actually give like a drop-down menu that only gives you 2 options of colors or something if you have, you know, brand guides that you need to adhere to. I could choose any font file on my computer right now, but you could give them like just only access to the font file that is your brand font if you want.
That's right. And with Adobe fonts, that makes it super easy because everyone has access to the library of Adobe fonts. And so if the person that you're handing this off to doesn't have the specific font that you made the design with, as soon as they drag and drop it onto the sequence, it will install that font from Adobe Fonts.
Yes, which I love that functionality. Which is great.
And of course, you can use third-party fonts. Like I understand that there's certain people, organizations, users, like they have their specific font. Not a problem. You can use that too. You'll just have to make sure that that font is installed in every system that this is based on, right, for it to work. But you know, they're flex. Mogrt are like, sure, okay, yeah. Do what you want.
And you can see this. This one's going to play a little slow because it is like doing a lot of After Effects work in the background, but it's all animated in After Effects. It's got some cool stuff going on. And all I had to do was change the text, and now I've got my cool intro for our morning show, right?
In the morning.
So, you know, these are as flexible as you want them to be, basically, right?
Totally.
And one capability I really love on this, to be honest, I actually discovered that this was a thing when I was doing my Max session last year when I was putting stuff together for that. Give this a second. This one has a lot going on in its brain here. So this is a map, and you can see it's from 1992, so you don't need to get all, you know, up in my business here. But so After Effects for a while has been able to take spreadsheet data in a variety of forms and use that to drive things. Not to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but most of the stuff in After Effects, the values are just numbers, right? So think about what that could mean with a spreadsheet. But you can actually use a spreadsheet to drive a template that only lives here in Premiere. And you can even edit that right here. You could literally drop an appropriately formatted spreadsheet right onto this little Dropbox right here. Or I could just literally do it right here and change, you know, what... change Alabama to Democratic if I want, and then it would turn red down here, or blue, sorry. And again, this is animated, so just think of the possibilities that exist.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, it accepts string values, i.e. like text characters. So this is a really good, if you have a lot of names that you've got to fill in, or credits or roles or things like that, you know, spell check can be done pretty easily in a Google spreadsheet or Excel spreadsheet, you know.
By a producer too, so that you can focus on being creative and let someone else do that stuff.
Let the intern do it. Sorry, my PA days came out there. You know, and it also numerical values. So again, you can use those numbers to represent numbers on screen, but also to drive any number of things. No pun intended. So like in bar charts or bar graphs, you know, one of the things that I love infographics, and one of the things I love about the spreadsheet control is that, you know, if you set everything up properly and something is meant to represent 72% versus 33%, it's going to be really accurate because you're going by math and not just kind of eyeballing a thing. You know what I mean? And then it also accepts hex values. So if there are certain colors that you want to use, consistently that are your brand colors, you can actually put that information into the spreadsheet data as well. And then it's just really a matter of how the thing is rigged up there. But then you just drag and drop your spreadsheet into the Mogrt control, and it's kind of like voila, it all just works. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Great example of how you can get super nerdy with this stuff if you want, but you can also make it really easy and accessible for someone with very little, you know, motion design knowledge to operate.
The spreadsheet, you know, that's a lot of people are comfortable in spreadsheet land. So, you know, meet the people where they're at. Let them do what they need to do in a spreadsheet, and then just instruct them to drag and drop it onto there. And, you know, everybody's feeling good then. Yeah. Magic is afoot.
I was going to make some kind of foot joke, but I'm just going to keep it to myself. That won't be good for anyone. Okay, so I think real quickly, I'm going to show where if you do want to create these in Premiere, just kind of show you how you can do that. I'm just going to use this one as an example, the same one I already showed, because it was created here in Premiere. Again, you can see there are keyframes right here in the effects panel. Again, I'm not going to get too deep into that, but all you have to do once you have built this out is you go right up here to graphics and export as motion graphics template. And then you can give it an appropriate name and add keywords and tags and all kinds of stuff if you want. And then it'll show up in your panel and you can start using it, or you can give it to someone else to use, or you can put it up on a library, or you can sell it on Adobe stock, wherever it needs to go, right?
Yep. These things are portable. They are independent. They like to live their life. They're very versatile. They're like the capybara of Adobe products. You know what I mean? They're friends with everyone. They're friends with everything. You want to Slack a Mogrt? Slack a Mogrt. You want to email a Mogrt? Email a Mogrt. They go everywhere you wanted to go.
I've definitely done both of those things.
And they got everything they need with them. I mean, the solo maintenance, it's great.
You know what? Today, I feel like we've reached a milestone. There's 2 people that have been put in timeout today in the chat, which I feel like is a whole new step for us.
Uh-oh. What have you done?
I feel like that we've moved to a new phase of YouTube now once you start needing to like put people in timeout.
What did you do?
I know.
What didn't we do? What did we do?
We'll find out. We'll just keep going. Oh, we don't need these people. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the very, very basics of creating these in After Effects and just kind of show you like how that can work and that these don't need to be scary. And then we're going to turn things over to Dacia to show us all the cool new stuff that you can do with media replacement. And a bunch of crazy ideas. And
I've got a couple things cooking for y'all. But Mogrts do not need to be scary. I know that there's a lot of, especially if you go onto the interwebs, you know, there's a lot of talk of needing to know a lot of expressions, and it's true. You know, the more expressions you know, the more capable you are. You know, the easier work is going to become, and you can make things a lot more responsive. But you don't need to know a bunch of expressions to be able to make one or create one or make life a little bit easier for yourself. So, I'm really grateful for Kyle's demo here because it's A, cool, and B, hopefully a little demystifying.
Maybe I will show that one little expression tip as part of this. So we'll like give them a little dash of nerdiness if they want it. Okay, let me pull this back up. I'm going to go ahead and go full screen just because, that feels smart in After Effects here. So I'm in After Effects, and you can see I have this truly amazing composition that I've created here,
Okay,
right? It's got, 3 whole layers and some animation. The text flies in, some text, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just pull this stuff out so that it's not even there. I'll just build this from scratch. This is the same Essential Graphics panel. Again, Window, Essential Graphics, okay? That's all you need to do. Just make sure that you're looking at the right comp, because there are, you can pull things from other comps into this. Again, that's complication you don't need to worry about right now. Almost every property in After Effects can be put in here, but not quite all of them. If you don't want to have to think too hard about which ones can, there's a button right here. Bing, Solo Supported Properties. And it just reveals everything in this comp that you can add to this, okay? So what I'm going to do is just drag up the source text. That means like what the text actually says. I have this fill color for the text, and I'll go ahead and just relabel that as text color, okay? And then sometimes it's good, something like a background. Maybe we want people to be able to turn that on or off, right, in Premiere. And I could absolutely just take the opacity and drag that up. But this is maybe a good opportunity to show just a quick little expression tip that I like to share, because it's very easy. Let me revert that to nothing here. So put on your expression nerd hat for just a minute here. Like I said, I could just put the opacity up here, and then someone could drag that slider. And that's totally fine, right? But if you want to get a little more advanced, you could add Effect, Expression Control. And these are only... if you've ever added one and it didn't do anything, it's because they don't do anything by themselves. They just drive other things, okay? Checkbox control. And a lot of people would add like a more, crunchy thing here, like if, then link to this slide or this box, like equals 1, do 100, else 0. And like that looks scary, right? So let's step back for a second and just think about what this is. It's a checkbox. It's on or off. It only has 2 states. And on a computer, that means it's binary. It's a 1 or a 0. And if you think back to like 3rd grade math, anything times 0 is what?
0.
0. Anything times 1 is what?
Itself.
Itself. So all you have to do is say value, and that means the value of this property before any expressions come into play. So this value times the little asterisk. Oops, I just clicked in the wrong spot. And then just pick whip to that. So now, whatever this is, I could make it 72% instead of 100. Whatever that value is, if it's on, it's going to be that value. If it's off, it's going to be 0, because it's 0 times whatever, okay? So great little tip there. And then you could just put the checkbox up here and call that like BG on off or whatever. And that might be simpler for someone than having to like adjust the opacity slider. And it means you could drive other things with this. So I'm going to save this and just call it like Kyle's template, okay? And then all I have to do is export motion graphics template, and it's going to export to that. Yep, great. You can do this in a variety of places. Switch back over to Premiere just to show you I'm not lying. And let's see, I've got a lot of things. Where did I put this? Who even knows? Oh, wipe. Great example here. If you ever think you should see something and you don't, check your search bar, because it's actually still searching for wipe, which this doesn't have. So here's my template that I just exported. And you can see there's my animation, but now I can change this to new words, and I can change the text color. And all I did in After Effects was dragged a few controls to a box. And now I have access to all of those right here in Premiere. Hopefully that feels like it's not very intimidating, right?
I mean, easy peasy.
Yeah. So speaking of not intimidating, what we're about to have Dacia show us is that you could literally take an image or a video, drop that into your composition. All you have to do is drag it up, and now that's going to be an editable thing too. Fascinating. Let's maybe look more into that if you are ready to launch us into media replacement awesomeness here.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm so pumped for this.
I'm too cool. Well, let's do that, and then I'm sure we have questions building up, so I'll look at those while you're doing your demo, and then we'll get some lined up.
All right. Cool. So
there we go.
here I've got a show. I'm working on a new show. It's a very cute show, and it's called Pet Wars,
Yes.
the cutest battle of them all, right? So I've got this title that I've built out. I've got some colors. I've got some things going on here. I've got these adorable little puppies and cats. But, what if the editor down the line or a producer decides, I don't want this puppies and cats. I got to complete, I've got my dog and my cat, and I want to put them in because they're the cutest. You might have to redo a bunch of stuff. You might have to go in here and just, sure, you can replace layers, but maybe you got to now adjust everything, and who needs to do all of that? So what we're going to do here is we've already got our template built out. Here I am in my essential graphics panel, which y'all are familiar with now. Mm-hmm. And making a media replacement template is as simple as this. And it is literally just dragging and dropping a layer and putting it into the essential graphics panel, and boom, that's it. I've got a media replacement control. This could be a piece of footage, just a simple video file. It could be an image. It could be an AI file, a Photoshop file, or even just a comp. And in this case, it's a comp because I have footage in here with green screen going on. But when I go over to Premiere, I don't want that green screen effect to travel. I want whoever drops their footage in to be able to do their own green screens, because that green can always look a little bit different, and so I want them to have a little bit more control there. So the other thing I can do here is I can move my timeline closer to what look I want, and I can set the thumbnail image, so now they're all looking at me. I hit export, motion graphics template, and then for proof of concept here, I've sent this over to my pal Kyle, and
that's me.
That's you. And let's see, just so y'all know that this is not one of those demos where, it's strung together by duct tape and hope. It is real. This is happening.
It's so real. I hope you're ready for this. So now we're looking at my screen again, and you can see I have that Pet Wars template right here. I just over the workflow show intro, and then you can see here's the default version with some little animation, and the pets come in. Great. Now I'm just going to edit this real quick. So once I select the thing, you can see all the controls I have access to. They just open up right there in Essential Graphics. And so I don't have a green screen clip, but I do have a PSD that I'm just going to provide with absolutely no context here. And I can just take this. You can see it's already cut out. I can just drag this right over here, and boom, now it's in there. And right here, I have access to scale this, to move this around, so I can kind of like place myself where I want me to be in the frame, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'll come down here and change this to Kyle. And oh, look at that. It even updates the size of the box accordingly. Like there's all kinds of fancy stuff that you can do here. Let's maybe, choose a color. Look at that. So, it was just that quick and easy to update this to what I needed it to be. But I still have access to all that animation that was created as part of the original template. My image is now in here. This could be as complicated or as simple as it's built to be, right?
It's built to be, exactly. Totally. And, it's also one of the things, if we could come back to my screen over here.
Yep.
Senor Kyle. It's so simple to iterate on these things within After Effects itself. And I'm not going to go too deep into essential properties workflow, but here, we've got, I've got a new show called Space Rocks, and I don't really want that dude in there. This doesn't make any sense with these kittens and cats. It's a new show, guys. And so as easy as dropping in some footage and going in here and doing some keying work, I can come up with a totally new look. Oh man, they all got something happened. Okay, that's okay. I had them all ready to go, I thought, but
we'll do it live.
We're doing it live. So you double click on that little control, and then this will pop up. Once you're in the comp, you can make any sort of changes that you want to it, and then boom, I've got a new episode for Space Rocks. Or I've got this other guy that I really he's my favorite, and I can open that up. Do the same, super easy to just key some footage out. I love After Effects. And then now look at this guy. He's working. It's working. So much magic. And just like that, I have multiple shows going, things going, and it doesn't change any of the original media or content. But you know, there's a lot of talk about titles. There's a lot of talk about lower thirds. There's a lot of talk about logos. All of those things totally make sense.
And that's traditional. That's inside the box.
Just inside the box. What about outside the box? And so going back to that idea of like, you know, I think right now with so much content out there, so much content creation happening, we're all trying to figure out how to make our content look unique, look different, just stand out from just like, oh, I just shot this on my phone, which shooting things on your phone is amazing. You have a whole film production studio here now. It's incredible. But you know, let's get into a little bit of some of the funky things that you can do. So I'm not good. You've seen how easy it is to make one. I guess I will show. Let's see here. Let's go to VHS vibes. I'm just going to show real quick, and let's pretend that wasn't there. And so I'm going to show you, oh, look, I just drag up that control. There it is. I export this as a motion graphics template. I come over here into Premiere, where I have got things going. Come on, Premiere. Why are you doing this to me?
It's got stage fright. That's okay.
It got a little stage fright. I had it all lined up. Let's just drag and drop it again. There it is. And I'm going to drop it in here. And then hopefully, yep, okay. There we see it. We've got some VHS vibes going. I select it. I've got this beautiful big thumbnail there. You know, obviously you can resize this based on the size of your panel. I like to see what I'm working with. And I'm just going to drag this Space Dude in there and then let that do its magic. Good thing this is a cooking show style thing, and we've already got it going. And there we see it just drops that in, and I've got the ability to change these. I don't know if you can see that banding that's happening. You know, I just have controls under there to change the height of the wave, how fast it's happening, the color. There's some hues attached to it, how blurry I make these dots. Like there's just a lot that you can play there. And essentially these become almost like a little effects kit that you can create for other users, or you can put just like make a thing so then later you can futz with, and not all of your videos will end up looking the same. You know, that's
right.
One things that I think is really powerful about it. I've got this other weird stuff happening over here. You know, I really like, you know, music videos, and I think that's another thing about this, like finding textures and looks, and kind of like we're able to do things that I think before you could only do in music videos or get away with. But right now, I think there's just a lot of room for creativity
to get weird. Yeah.
and do cool things. So I don't know. I just made this wild little Frida situation, you know, that kind of blocks out and then comes in, and this part of the footage is outlined out. So I'm just going to show what you can do in Premiere. And we've got a little green screen kitty. I'm going to drop in to my control. There he is. And then this is how easy it is to just get in there. We just got to jump in, double click on that control, and now we're inside of it's like basically a nested sequence, and you can do everything that you would normally do in a sequence in Premiere in here. So I'm just gonna quickly find a key and key some things out, put that there. Where is my effects? Controls. Come here. Okay, there we go. I could retime this. I could edit it. I could do all kinds of things to it. And then I could also, if this mode here too, I can use this tool that we've got for direct manipulation to scale things out, to move it, to rotate. There's all kinds of things that you can do within this. You could even splice and cut up an entirely new sequence in there. It's basically just a sequence. And then if I go back to here we go. There's the cat. I've changed it from Frida to Kitty. I've got these outlines going. I've got controls that allow me to change that outline displacement. You know, just get weird. this is the thing where it's just like, how can I make my content unique? How can I create a certain look? How can I stay within certain colors? You know, for me, my brand colors are very much hot pink and neon colors and cats and space and Frida. That's the sort of space that I live in, and I love it. Alternatively, you know, and this is sort of a little bit of a workaround. One of our other biggest requests are for transitions. And, you know, this is said with the caveat that it's not a true transition and that you can drag it between two clips on your timeline. And this, I would say, is definitely better for transitions done between shorter clips, because you're going to have to put the full length of your clip in there. But here I've got a little slide cut transition that I've done between two stills. And then just as easily, let's go back to my project demo. I've got some, let's see if this is the clip that I want. Yep. Okay, so I'm just going to drag and drop. Oh, you can also drag multiple. So I can grab both of these clips and drag and drop them, and it will replace them all at the same time. And I've just got...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it'll, like, if you had 7 controls and you grabbed 8 clips, it'll just do the top 7.
Awesome.
So that's the other really cool thing. The other cool thing that I always forget is that you can also swap these around. So like if you're playing with the order and you don't like it, you can just literally drag and move things around. You know, there's one of the ones that I like to think about is like the Parks and Rec intro, or Up in the Air, you know, where you've got a lot of moving images. That's one where like you might want to play with which imagery is coming up first, or what's the hero shot versus like the little strips coming on the side. Well, you don't have to redo everything. You can literally just swap media back and forth, which is something that is, to me, makes it a lot more of a smoother experience. So here we go. This is what our transition ends up looking at. So you don't have to use canned transitions. This took me like 5 seconds to build in After Effects. It's not that big of a it's like basically like using motion tile and making it move over a little bit. It's not that complicated, just a few keyframes. There's no expressions involved. I think that this is what I'm excited for too.
Yeah.
Media replacement really opens up a lot of opportunities to make Mogrts that aren't necessarily expression heavy. They're more like effects packets. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Here
Hopefully they do.
you know, timelines are a big thing that I like to follow. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I don't know if y'all have watched The Last Dance about the Chicago Bulls, their 6th and final run at the championship. It's beautiful. Anyways, this is inspired by a timeline that I saw there. So this is my adorable dog, Sam. He is adorable. Fight me. He's the most adorable. And his grandfather, it's not really his grandfather, but I found this online and I like to think. And just like that, you know, hey, who's that? Boom. We can make a timeline too. Who's that guy? Oh my God. I did not consent to that hair length. I did not. Look at that. What? Are you kidding me? Anyways, these also work as responsive time in those protected regions. So this one, you know, I can extend it out as far as I want. Really, the thing that's not changing here is the animation. That's what I've protected. But I've made those time containers bigger. So whenever you replace media into them, like, let me just do that real quick. I'll just put something in here and double click in there. This is what we're calling a time container. We can look at the same one from before. There's a timeline here. Let's look at this one. And I'll go into that one. And that time container is really small in that regard. There's not a lot going on there. It's not a lot of time that's on there compared to this, which gave me now 15 seconds to fill versus what's the other one? It's probably like 5 seconds. So we're never going to retime your footage for you. You are able to do that in Premiere yourself, you know, by using speed, duration, or whatever you need to do. It's just, think of it like, like you have more footage to fill into the time if you stretch it out. That's how responsive design time works with these. But so many possibilities. I mean, they're endless, and and I'm just really excited to see what other people come up with. This is just stuff I've been building as we've been building the tool and testing it. And so I'm really excited to share it with y'all. Thanks for letting me share, Kyle.
Yeah, that was awesome. I know we've got some questions that came in during that, but I want to take a second and you mentioned a couple of times like seeing things that other people, excited to see what people can make and what people can do with these.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about a very specific opportunity for that in just a minute here. But let's take a couple questions, and then we're going to talk about this Mogrt madness thing that we've been throwing around, because that's going to be a thing in the very near future here. Just a couple good questions that I thought. Someone asked, do you need to use the new Premiere for this? And the answer is yes, to have access to media replacement. Yes. Latest After Effects, latest Premiere.
That's right. So 18.0 is when on the After Effects side, and 15.0 on Premiere. Anything after that, you're going to be golden. Yeah, unfortunately, our time machine is broken, and we haven't been able to go back and add this to previous versions.
Alas.
Wish we could. I mean, people have been clamoring for this for a long time. So, but this is a total motivation to update, and you'll have access to all this new magic.
And to point out that these, both After Effects and Premiere, are major version updates. So you can install them alongside the previous one. You don't need to uninstall the previous version if you're still using it for other projects or something.
That's right. And you can take existing Mogrts that you have. Another little known trick. Mogrts are just zip files under the hood. And I know that a lot of people know that you can go change the extension to zip. And that's really time consuming too.
You don't even need to.
You don't have to do that. If you've got your Mogrt file, you just go to After Effects, and you have to go through, this is the only pathway to do this, but you go File, Open, and you select that Mogrt, and then it's going to ask you, where do you want me to extract this Mogrt? And that's because there's the After Effects project, the AEP file, any related content or media is in there, and it just needs to know where to put that so that it can link to those files if needed. Which with media, obviously it will. So yeah, you can open up any of your older Mogrts and then just add these elements to it, and then re-export, and you're good to go.
Totally. Another quick yes/no question: can you use drop-down boxes in Mogrts? Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we built drop-down controls specifically for Mogrt users, actually. So yeah, you can drive anything and everything from a drop-down, essentially. It's basically just a switch, like that checkbox switch that Kyle showed us earlier. It's that plus...
The code's a little more complicated for that.
But what I'm saying is that it's like you're saying whatever you assign to one... It's an index, it's like the first thing on the list, you could assign multiple properties to be looking at that, whether it be a set of colors, a comp, so that in this case could be media, a font, a size, you can make things, drive things from one single drop down, variations essentially from that very easily. Yeah.
Totally. Here's a good question. I actually don't fully know the answer to. Can we use JSON files instead of spreadsheets? And in After Effects, the answer is definitely yes. In Premiere, can you also drag a JSON into that little Dropbox?
Can't make a spreadsheet control with a JSON file. You can only make a spreadsheet control with a CSV or a TSV file. But you can use a JSON to drive animations within Premiere. Like it will recognize it as such. It's just that figuring out ways to tweak that data is not going to be as simple with that control. It's been a minute since I looked at that JSON workflow, because it's actually the one that we introduced first before the spreadsheet control. And I do feel like there are ways that, in After Effects, you can do so many things. It's just about thinking about the workaround. And I'm pretty sure that you can attach like sliders and any of those UI expression controls that are sort of empty vessels. Like you can link them to some of that JSON data to manipulate and add that to your EGP if you needed to. So there are ways around it. It's just not going to be that neat and tidy spreadsheet control. That is a requirement, is a CSV or a TSV.
Here's another good yes or no. Does this support Cineware in Premiere, which I'll explain in what that is for people who don't know, without AE installation? No. Short answer is no. Cineware is how you get a Cinema 4D thing into After Effects. It can just render it directly in there. And you can absolutely put that as part of a template, but then that machine will need After Effects installed to be able to run that template in Premiere.
And that also leads to one small caveat, which I have to break the news, but these are not these media replacement controls are not compatible with dynamic link, and the reason for that is that they were not going to be very performative, and we had to make a decision that we wanted the user experience to be as best as it could be. And right now, Mogrts, especially if they're very expression heavy or they've got a lot going on, can already be a little bit taxing the way that tiny inception AE and Premieres talk to each other. But we're really looking forward to multi-frame rendering coming to AE Mogrts. I cannot wait. Give it to me. But yeah, things to know: if there's anything in your project that's going to make your Mogrt a dynamic link Mogrt, you won't be able to use media replacement. So you kind of got to make the call. Which
currently should only be the Cineware plugin or a third-party effect that isn't part of like native installation.
And then some of the legacy effects. There's about 340 effects which are AE lib compatible, meaning like, but there's a few that are like, I feel like Particle World is one of those that's like,
I can see that.
It's like basically like if you really need the full power of AE to do something complex, it's probably going to be a dynamic link project. Like you can do it, but you're going to be doing it through dynamic link essentially.
Cool. Let's do one more question, which I think is a really good one, an important one to answer, and then we'll move on to the other thing that I want to talk about. Brian asked, how can we easily manage Mogrts between workstations and projects? And there's a couple answers there. One of them is using libraries, which will be relevant in the very near future here. But also when you export, you can export it to your machine's like local Mogrt area, or you can just export it to anywhere on your hard drive or to a library. And actually
I know if people are on like MAMS or working on any sort of shared server, you can also create pathways to that as well.
Absolutely. It's just a file that, so as long as you save it in the right spot and tell Premiere to look in the right spot, whether that's a drive locally or a network drive or a library, like it can have access to those. I do actually go into that in my Max talk, so we could post that link again, maybe, if you want to get some of that references.
And I also am a huge fan of keywords. I know that,
yes.
But like that helps me a lot and to really get to my things quickly. But mostly like using CC libs and manage additional folders is what it's technically called, which just means like I'm setting up specific folders where the Mogrts that I'm using for this project, like those are there, and all I have to do is save to my Mogrts to there, and then when I open up Premiere, it's a drop down selection just like you would choose Creative Cloud Library, basically.
Cool. One more thing that we should mention. We didn't talk a lot about creating these today, but if you are creating these, there's opportunities to be selling them on Adobe stock. So again, I don't know if we have we don't have a lot of time to get into that, but just understand that this is a thing. If you are creating these, especially creating more interesting and dynamic ones, this could potentially be a revenue stream for you. So if you're excited about that, look more into it. Adobe has a lot of resources for you that you can look up and figure out how to make that happen. So let's talk about this other exciting thing that we've been working on for the last several weeks here. So Mogrt Madness, you're just seeing this now, but you're going to be seeing it for the next couple of weeks. And people in the School of Motion community have been seeing it for a few weeks because we gave them a jump start on this stuff. As this new feature was coming out, and we asked them to help us explore what the new media replacement can be. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff that they've been making, and then starting next week, you're going to get to play with these too. So let me go ahead and plug this in. Yes, I'm super excited about this. So these are some of our alumni creators here, and that's their Instagram tag over here on the right. So today's stream here, this is beginning, we'll say phase 2. Maybe it's more phases than that. I don't know. I've lost track at this point. But of this event, we're calling Mogrt Madness. So we got a bunch of these awesome submissions from people who'd already been creating templates. Some people, told me this was their very first one that they'd ever made, which is super exciting. And we got all these cool examples of, you know, some of these are like traditional social media templates. Some of them are totally like a little effects drop in. Some of them are like fun, like photo template slideshow things, like everything you can imagine, right? So starting Monday, keep your eyes on the School of Motion Instagram account. And we're going to be making all of these templates and more, because this isn't all of them. We're going to make them available to you to play with, okay? And we want you to explore and customize them yourself, see what you can do with this, and you'll also see how easy and accessible these really can be, okay? And you're going to be able to post it back to our School of Motion Instagram using the hashtag Mogrt Madness. And we're going to have some things to give away for people who post these back potentially. So Monday on our Instagram, watch it, check it out. You'll see cool stuff.
I mean, I'm so impressed. I mean, we literally gave people what, like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks tops, and so many great submissions. This is gorgeous. I mean, I was having so much fun checking these out. So cool, so creative. Also, like, I think this just shows too. Oh, I mean, come on.
I love this one.
This is so great. It really just shows all of the different possibilities that that are out there to play with this. There is no one way, you know.
I'm really excited to see what happens with once we release these into the wild here. And I said this to all of them privately, but if you are one of the creators that's watching here, I see a bunch of your names in the chat. So hello, huge thank you to everyone who submitted one of these. I think that I made sure that I had at least one from everyone in that lineup. So if I forgot you, I'm sorry. There's a lot, which is awesome. Okay, let's see. What else do I need to cover here?
Mogrt Madness.
Mogrt Madness. I'm so pumped for Mogrt Madness. I have a couple School of Motion things that I need to say before we wrap this up. And then, alas, our time will be at an end. But I know. It is what it is. So, School of Motion stuff. Registration is ending in just a couple days because our next session starts on Monday. So if you are thinking about taking one of our courses, this is a pretty good time to do it, because otherwise you're gonna have to wait for several months. I do want to.
I'm doing one as well.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
And doing it for real this time.
You took an animation boot camp?
I've taken animation boot camp for the second time. You know, I tried to do that thing where I was like, oh, I'm just going to do it on my own time. And I'll have to say, I think one of the greatest values of School of Motion is this community, and is in being able to be in that conversation with your TAs. And I know that, so I'm going to do it for real this time. And I've got to shout out my friend and coworker, Jessica McMillan on the AE team. She's a developer, really amazing photographer and artist. And we're going to be accountability buddies.
Awesome.
So I'm really pumped. So yeah, see y'all there. And if you're thinking about it, I mean, just do it. Just do it.
I agree. And doing it on the right schedule and having TA feedback and feedback from other people and stuff, it's the way to go. I've taken courses as a student before I worked here. Highly recommended. I want to toss this out. We are currently running a special where if you take Character Animation Bootcamp, you get Rigging Academy for free as part of a bundle there. Expression Session and VFX for Motion are a bit cheaper than they used to be currently. I don't know if that's always going to be the way. So if you want to take either of those, Expression Session, if you want to totally lean into all this nerdy, expression functionality we were talking about, it's great. VFX for Motion is awesome if you want to learn about like compositing and keying and tracking and all kinds of great stuff. We also have a brand new course that is starting this session called Demo Reel Dash, which I am really excited to watch through, honestly. Where Ryan Summers leads this course. It's 4 weeks, and it takes you through making the perfect demo reel for you, whatever that means. It's not going to be the same for everyone. I also want to point out that we have a new hold frame workshop out from Klim Studio that's all about developing your voice through personal projects using the project It's About Time by Klim Studio. And lastly, if you didn't catch this yesterday, I do need to say that School of Motion has officially released, now that's what I call Motion 21. If you didn't check this out, you can see the full track listing on the link that we're going to be giving you in the chat in just a second here. this thing is not to be missed. I promise. So
Is that like the greatest hits of 20?
oh, it's the greatest hits.
Ooh, that looks good. Also throwback. I love those CDs. I still have some.
Well, this is the only one you ever need to get.
I can't wait. Man, those are some really good courses. That developing your own personal voice one. I saw an ad for that one the other day. And I feel like that's what I struggle with the most. Like figuring out, there's so many incredibly talented motion designers out there. I follow you all on motion on Instagram and on Twitter. Like I'm always lurking, and I'm not lurking. I'm always like going emoji crazy. You know me as Show Me Tiger. If you've seen like gorgeous and like a million emojis, that's me. But I think that's the scariest part is like, how do you emulate someone or like try practicing what someone's look is, but at what point do you start figuring out like what your style is? And there's just so many people that have like such a clear point of view, and that's who I want to be when I grow up. So
and these hold frame workshops, which that is, are really great if you want to take deep dives into like somebody's creative process or someone's technical process. Those are like self-paced things where you're just kind of watching it as you want. But I know that we put our team has been putting a lot of work into making those really awesome, and they're super awesome insights into like top artists. So it's great. Dacia, I'm afraid that we probably need to wrap this up here. I'll put these back on for our big finale here, but
it's been such an honor and a pleasure. I'm such a fangirl of School of Motion. I'll say it again. And of yours as well. Thank you so much for letting me come play with you guys and show you all our latest tricks. And I really hope send me your feedback, send me questions at Show Me Tiger at Twitter, and also through School of Motion. You can get a hold of me for sure. I've got some people there know how to get a hold of me, and we can figure it out. But if feedback's much welcome. We're always looking to iterate, make things better. So thank you so much for having us, Kyle. Like being the Adobe team, this has been super fun. And man, I was so excited by all the stuff that I saw the alumni create over the last few weeks. Like
me too.
It's great, super great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on today. And it has been super fun working on this thing. It's been fun like having this top secret project that we're like just releasing to some people. And it's going to be really awesome to see it kind of released out into the wild and see what everyone does with all these cool templates. So I'm really pumped to see what next week brings here. So again, stay tuned to our Instagram. On Monday, we're going to be starting this up. You'll be seeing some stuff from a few creators that we're featuring, as well as getting access to all the templates to play with. So I really hope that you participate in that. I really hope that you enjoyed this today. If you have questions, you can hit up Dacia. You can hit up me. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram too. I don't know. Have fun with it.
Yeah, high fives. Woo!
Yeah, we'll go out with high fives. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And let the Mogrt madness begin.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.